All right, good evening to you all. My name is James from Varsity Unlimited Tutors. Today we are meeting here to discuss a few things. There are some extra tutorials that I would want to do with you guys. So I just want to introduce myself and highlight how the extra tutorials work so that those of you that are interested can join us through. All right, so this, all right, just give me a second here. Okay, ADBM. All right. So I believe we are all studying advanced diploma in business management, in case you are lost. I believe I'm talking to students that are doing advanced diploma in business management. All right. So you guys you have done your registration for the diploma with your institution. And now in March, I believe it's the first week of March or so, you are going to be starting your classes with the university. So what we want to do today and for the next few weeks in February is, first of all, I just want to give you a little bit of an introduction of how usually you have to work through your semester. Then after this specific introduction, I will then highlight how I can be of assistance to you as a student, right? So now when you've registered for your diploma in advanced business management, you will notice that you are going to receive some study material, right? So within that study material, you will notice that for the first 6 months of the year, that is from February up to around July, you will be studying 4 subjects, right? And then for the remaining part of the year, you'll be studying another 4 subjects. Now, please, let's make sure that our mics are muted so that we don't disturb the class. Let's make sure that our mics are muted. Thank you. All right. So like I said, you are going to be doing 8 modules during the whole year, but only 4 modules per each semester, right? So this coming semester, this one that we're looking at, you are going to be studying 4 particular subjects. You're going to be studying microeconomics, you're going to be studying business finance, you're going to be studying advanced management principles, and you're going to be studying understanding marketing. So those are the 4 key modules that you're going to be studying. Now, just a rundown. If you're looking at the module, for example, business finance, right? Business finance, you're basically looking at a business from the accounting point of view, or from the view of the finance department. So we are going to be doing a bit of accounting in business finance. We are going to be preparing and presenting financial statements, right? Such as the balance sheet, the income statement, the cash flow statement, right? In addition to that, we are going to be doing an analysis of those financial statements. Then we're going to be looking at the working capital. How has the business been financed? And what is the cost of financing that particular business? Then we're going to be looking into the budgeting side of the business, i.e. the cash budgeting of the business and also the capital budgeting of the business. So those are some of the concepts that you're going to have to go through. That is for business finance. Then for microeconomics, you're basically looking at the first part of economics, which is basically the theoretical part of economics. So you're going to be doing a lot of graphs, you're going to be doing a lot of calculations, you're going to go through a lot of theory in terms of economics, where we are studying the economic problem, right? What is the economic problem, right? We are studying the theories of demand and supply, how prices are determined in the market, and what is the influence of government intervention in terms of the prices that are in the market. We are going to be looking at the business. What are the costs associated with running a business? What are the economic costs and what are the accounting costs of running a business? And how can you make decisions as a businessman with regards to increasing output and reducing output, and what impact will it have on the cost structure of the business? Then we're also going to look at issues, for example, like the labor market, and also issues like the actual markets in which businesses operate, whether they're operating in a free market or they're operating in a in a monopoly market, right? So those are the things that you're going to be looking in when you're looking at your microeconomics level, right? And then you are going to be studying advanced management principles, which is basically theories, which is basically theory related to management, right? How or what theories are applicable to you as a manager? What is leadership in business? What is motivation in business? What are the roles of a manager in a particular workplace? So there are different issues and different theories that you look into, which will be beneficial to you at the end of the day in terms of how do you work as a manager at a workplace. Then lastly, you're going to do marketing, right? Marketing is how do you show value for your business to the consumer? How do you advise your consumer that your business has got value? You're going to look at issues of the pricing, issues of the promotion, issues of the distribution that is happening within business. All the aspects attached to the 4 P's or to the 7 P's of marketing, we're going to be looking at at all of these different issues. So that is basically the type of content that you're going to be looking at, right? So in terms of difficulty of the module, I think the easiest one would be advanced management principles. That would be much easier maybe for most people because it's just simple theory. Advanced management theory is just simple theory. So that one would be easy. As long as you're reading, it's going to be a bit easy. Marketing is not difficult, but marketing, it needs you to really understand it, right? Because you're trying to market the business and you have to have a whole approach, an overview approach of business. So probably it might be quite difficult for some people. It might be quite difficult for some people, but if you're an avid reader, marketing might also be not that bad for you. Economics can be very tricky. Like I said, economics has good graphs, economics has good calculations, right? So if you're not a friend of graphs and calculations, economics is going to be a mess for you. But if you're good with calculations and graphs, then you're not going to have a problem. Finance is the same thing. Finance is just going to be a lot of calculations, right? And even the exam, if you go into the finance exam, I think only one question will be theory. The other 4 will just be calculations, left, right, and center. So definitely you will need to understand your calculations. So that's basically what you're going to be facing, right, throughout the whole semester. Now, in terms of how does the institution, how does Manposa per se, how do they evaluate your performance during the semester, is you're going to have 3 types of assessments, right? You're going to have 2 assignments and you're going to have an exam at the end of the semester for each module that you're going to go through. So the first assessment that you're going to have is what is called a quiz or a KCQ, right? So a quiz will basically be, sorry, let me just write here, assessments, all right. So the first one will be a quiz, right? So this will be 10 or 20 questions, which will be multiple choice. So that will be your first assessment, right? Then the second assessment will be a case study or what we call a short essay, which is basically a 30-mark question where you're presented with the case study and they're expected to answer some questions. So these questions can be calculations, for example, this is business finance, or can be theory and essay, if it's marketing or advanced management principles, where you're expected usually to provide about 2,000 words in terms of your final answer, unless otherwise stated. Usually it's 2,000 words for your final answer, unless if it's calculations or it is highlighted different. So that's the second assessment that you're going to get. And then finally, the third assessment will be the exam, which is called the OSA, the online summative assessment, which is basically the exam at the end of the semester. So the exam, usually it's again theory. Most of the time it's theory. In management, it's going to be theory. Marketing is going to be theory. Economics, I will have to ask you to ask your lecturer, because sometimes it can come in as theory, sometimes it can come in as multiple choice. It just depends with his temperature during that semester. So it can be both ways. It can either be theory, it can be multiple choice, or it can be a combination of the 2. That is for economics, right? And then for finance, these are calculations. You have to perform calculations. You'll be asked to present income statement, balance sheet, analyze financial statements and whatnot. So there'll be quite a lot of calculations that you have to conduct. But the exam is an online exam. You're going to write it on a particular date. They will tell you what the date is, and then on that date, they'll give you the exam. You do the exam, you submit it back to them after a stipulated amount of what? Amount of time. So those are the assessments that you are going to do, right? So how do you pass this semester? Now, this is very, very important for you guys. The first thing is do not miss an assignment. Now, I want to emphasize this because this is the number one reason why people fail. Where you have an assignment and you do not do the assignment. If you do not do the assignment, you automatically have to re-register that module, which means you've automatically failed that module. Even if it's one assignment, you have automatically failed that module. So do not miss your assignment. If you've got a quiz assignment, make sure you've done the quiz assignment. If you've got a case study short essay assignment, make sure that you've done the case study short essay assignment. Because if you miss the assignment, you will not get another opportunity. You have lost the whole module. You have to repeat it next year. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to be repeating a module next year. So make sure that you do all of your assignments. So that's point number one. Point number two is the assignments themselves. Ensure that you pass each and every assignment that you do. Right? So the quiz, like I said, if it's out of 10, make sure you get at least 5 out of 10. If it's out of 20, make sure you get at least 10 out of 20, at least 50%. Right? If it's the case study with the 2,000 words, make sure that you get at least 15 out of 30. If it's the exam, make sure that you get at least 50 out of 100. So if you pass all of your assignments, all of your modules, all of your exams, you are not going to have a problem. But if you fail one of these things, you might end up having to repeat the module. So Mankosa is very strict about that. You might end up having to repeat the module. Right? So please do not skip your assignments. Do not fail your assignments. Make sure that you have done these things. Because I know some of you guys are on bursaries and whatnot. So at the end of the day, you will notice that, look, if you miss the assignment and then you're on a bursary, next year the company might say we are no longer sponsoring you. So you now have to take it out of your own pocket to re-register the module. So that's a very, very, no. Do not skip assignments. Do not fail assignments. Make sure that those things are passed quite well. The good thing about the exam is it is a supplementary. If you fail your exam, it's a supplementary that you can do, I think it's in August or so. So that one, at least there's a supplementary that you can do. But the assignments, please do not fail your assignments, guys. Do not fail your assignments. It's pointless for you to fail the assignment because it's going to cost you the whole module. All right. So that's on the marks that you're expecting to get. So I think this just covers the general part about the degree that you have chosen to do. Now I'm going to talk about what I am going to offer you as students. But before I talk about, is there any specific question that someone might have that may be something that they're struggling to understand in terms of the structure of the program? Is there anyone with such a question who is struggling to understand the structure of their program? Okay, I believe everyone is happy. All right, so I will move ahead. Okay, someone says, what are the weightings for the assignments and for the exams? Okay, in terms of the weightings, please check your program and it has the correct weightings, but it's 40% weighting for the assignments and 60% weighting for the exams. So the quiz will have 20% weighting, the case study with another 20% weighting, and then the exam will have the remaining 60% weighting. But like I said, don't fail a quiz or an assignment and say, I will cover with the exam. Don't do that. If you do that, you'll be surprised when you see there on their system telling you to re-register the module. You'll be surprised when you see them telling you to re-register the module. Because assignments are not supposed to be failed. That I need to emphasize that. Do not fail an assignment. Then someone says, Mankosa exams online. Yes, the exams online. There will be a date. Let's say, for example, 2 June. On 2 June, you get the exam. You write the exam online, and then you submit it back online. So yes, the exams are going to be online. I hope you answered. All right. So I'll proceed. Okay, so like I said, my name is James. I'm not a lecturer at Mankosa. Please note that. I don't want you to confuse me. I'm not a lecturer for Mankosa. I am a private tutor who assists students with their studies. So as a private tutor, what we simply do is we take those modules that we think are difficult for you students, and then we break them down for you. We go through the assignments with you guys and tell you, oh, this is the assignment question. This is how you're supposed to answer the assignment. So that at the end of the day, by the time you get to the end of the semester, you will notice that you're going to have, in your assignments, maybe you're going to have for the quiz, maybe you're going to have 10 out of 10 for the quiz. And then for the case study, maybe you have 28 out of 30. So that by the time you get to the exam, you have a very good mark, which means that in the exam, even if you get 50, you are still going to get a distinction. So that's the aim that we're trying to do. We want you to pass. We want you to get a distinction. We do not want you to repeat this module, right? So of course, there will be an extra fee for the service that I'm offering, but we are also reasonable. We know that you guys might not have the money and whatnot. So what we usually do is we offer free classes just to make you acclimatize with the module. And then if you're still interested in continuing the classes, then you can what? Then you can pay for the what? For the service, right? So for the month of February, starting from today up until the end of February, there will be free classes. The free classes will be for business finance, will be for marketing, will be for management principles, and will be for economics. I think there will be 2 for business finance, 2 for marketing, and then there'll be, I think, 1 for management and 1 for marketing. So you are going to get some free classes, which you can freely attend without making any payments, so that you can also judge whether you like the tutor or you do not like the tutor. So I will be taking you through 2 of the courses, which is microeconomics and business finance. And then I've got a colleague who is an expert in marketing, who will take you through marketing, and a colleague who's an expert in HR management, who will take you through advanced management, right? Then in terms of the cost of the module of the assistance, that is, if you're interested in continuing with the assistance, you need to start paying at the end of February. So at the end of February, this is when we expect you guys to have at least made a deposit. So the deposit is 250 Rand. The total cost is 750 Rand for each module that you need assistance with. So if you're saying, I just want assistance with business finance, you pay your 750. The way you pay your 750 is you can pay 250 at the end of February, another 250 in March, another 250 in April. So you can pay in installments. If you say, I want assistance for 2 modules, microeconomics and business finance, which means it's 750 multiplied by 2, which is 1.5. Right. So you're paying 500 in February, 500 in March, 500 in what? In April. So you can pay in installments, and it's 750 Rand per module per semester. Now, okay, now someone might ask, so what is included within this package that you're offering me? What is included in the 750 that I'm paying for that particular module? So what is included, like I said, there are free classes in February that we are going to offer. Those ones you don't need to pay, but that's part of the package. Then the second thing is we are going to be doing weekly lessons, right? So every week for each module, we are going to dedicate 1 to 2 hours every week where we are going to meet and we are going to discuss. So for example, this week, we're going to look at unit number 1 in business finance. So that's what we are doing this week. Next week, we look at unit number 2. Next week, but 1, maybe we go to unit number 3. It just depends on the specific module. But each week, we are going to meet at least for 1 or 2 hours for each module, which means that if you have all 4 modules, which means you're going to meet us 4 times during the week. If you've got 2 modules, which means you're going to meet us 2 times during the week. These lessons are going to be online, just like the one we are doing. It's going to be online on Zoom, right? Then in addition, you might receive some homework and some solutions to the homework that you're going to get. Then also, we're going to go through past exam papers. I'm going to present you the papers that were written for business finance for last year, for 2021, for 2020, and I'm also going to present you with the solutions and how you should have calculated those solutions so that you can prepare yourself for the end of year exam. Then in addition to that, I'm going to give you tips and guidance in terms of how to pass your exam. And then lastly, we are going to go through the assignments. So like we said, remember, we said there are 2 assignments. There's a quiz, and then there's a case study. So for the quiz, I will provide you the answers for the quiz. You don't need to worry. As long as you've paid your fees, I will provide you the answers for the quiz, right? Because it's just multiple choice. I'll provide you the answers for that. Then for the case study question, we are going to dedicate a day where we come and meet for 2 hours online on Zoom, and I'm going to discuss each and every aspect of the question. Question number 1, this is what it says. This is how you need to answer it. You put an introduction here, you put 3 paragraphs here, this is what you put in your 3 paragraphs. This is how you reference your work, this is how you present your work, this is how you answer the question. And then you can go and draft your answer. But essentially, I've given you a draft of the solution, right? I've given you a draft of the solution within that class. So normally, if we do this, usually most of the students, they get 25 out of 30, 20 out of 30, depending on your level of understanding. But it's usually just a guaranteed pass as long as you follow what we've asked you to do. So that's what you are getting if you are joining through our classes. Now, in addition to the classes, now this is outside here. In addition to the classes, we do offer one-on-one assistance. Now, I'm not going to discuss about one-on-one assistance here. If you need one-on-one assistance, you can give me a call. My number is there. You give me a call, we talk. So when I say one-on-one assistance, I'm just basically telling you that let's say you've got an assignment and you're stuck. You cannot complete the assignment. You want someone to really just help you to complete that specific assignment. You can give us a call. We can get someone to help you to complete that specific assignment. That is outside the normal classes and whatnot. So for those of you that say, look, I really don't want the classes, I just want some one-on-one help, give me a call and then we'll talk how we can assist you. The prices there, they are tailor-made to you. I cannot disclose them for this particular platform. But what we're offering at the moment is just basically the standard package, which is the lessons, the assignment guideline, the exam preparation, and one-on-one KCQ quiz help that you'll be getting. So in essence, that's what we are offering is Varsity Unlimited Tutor. So we are a group of tutors. It's Varsity Unlimited Tutors, not just me. I'll take 2 modules, but the other tutors will take other modules also. So like I said, this proposal, what it means is that we will have lessons from Sunday up to Thursday. We have lessons from Sunday up to Thursday. Now, for the free classes, they are not going to be standard. We are going to have some on certain days, some on other days. I'm going to advise every single time we have the free classes. But the moment the students who are interested have made their payments, then I will present to you a timetable. The timetable is likely going to be Sunday, business finance, Monday, economics, Tuesday, management principles, and then on Thursday, marketing. Right. So that's most likely what is going to be the timetable is going to what is going to look like at the end of the day. But we will start following the timetable directly in March once the students have paid. But for the free classes, we are going to be advising you that today we've got a free class for this, today we've got a free class for this so that you can attend. We'll advise in time, don't worry. But for the free classes, they are not yet standardized. We're just going to pick certain days and do them. Whenever there is load shedding, someone might ask, so if I make a payment and there's load shedding, what am I do? Am I losing my money? No. Every lecture that we do will be recorded. Every lecture that we do will be recorded so that you guys can have access to the class, even if you were not able to attend. So in short, that is Varsity Unlimited Tutors in terms of what we are offering you as the student. Now I want us to go straight to what I brought you here to do today, which is our introduction for business finance. But in case there is someone who has got a burning question, feel free to ask before we start talking about business finance. Feel free to ask if you've got a burning question before we start talking about business finance. You can post the question on the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask if you've got a burning question that you have. All right. So if there are no burning questions, I'm going to introduce to you to business finance. So this is actually going to be our first lecture for business finance. I encourage you to attend tomorrow. We're going to be doing microeconomics. For today, we're looking at business finance. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at microeconomics. So I encourage you to attend the lecture for tomorrow also. All right. So like I said, what is business
Apologies, my good friend.
Yes.
Sorry for interruptions, sir.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry for disturbing. Yes,
go ahead.
Well, I joined a bit later due to some connectivity issues, but yeah, I find that you were already done with your presentation, but maybe you've already touched some bases regarding the issue of those prescribed textbook. How does it go if someone maybe joins your team in terms of assistance, do you maybe provide with soft copy, or maybe how does it work like? Thank you.
All right. I'll answer that question in two ways. So the first issue is, yes, if I have a soft copy of the textbook, I will send it to you, right? That's the first issue. Then the second issue is that if you are joining our classes, you will not need to go through the textbook. That will be duplication of effort, because my responsibility as the tutor is to actually go to the textbook and read the textbook on your behalf, and then come and present to you summarized information that is important to you. So my recommended reading when I am your tutor will be the study guide that is from the lecturer, plus the videos that I'll be sending you, plus the homework. I would not expect you to then go and read the textbook again. That will become too much effort on your end at the end of the day. It will not really help you, because most of the information that we will present within the class is built upon from your textbooks. So yes, if I have a soft copy of the textbook, I will present it to you. If I do not have, because I have hard copies of the textbook, if I do not have a soft copy of the textbook, you still don't need to worry, because the information that we will provide to you within the class is based actually on the textbooks, which means that I've already covered you. I'll be summarizing the textbook for you, so that it's much more palatable for you to consume the information. So you won't need to worry. So if you're joining the classes, don't worry about the textbooks. But whatever soft copies that I have, I will ensure that you have also access to them. I hope you answered.
Yes, definitely so. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's see. Business finance. All right. So what is business finance? Why do we study business finance? So business finance, from the two terms, business and finance, right? We are combining two aspects. We are saying that there is an organization or there is a business. Now remember what a business is. It's just an enterprise created for the purposes of making profit, right? You put input in the form of capital, and then there's an output in the form of profit. That is what a business is, right? But when a business is operating, it has got various departments within it. It has got management within it. It has got marketing within it. It has got operations within it. It has got people that are doing project management within it. It has got people that are doing finance and accounting within it. So those are the different aspects or the different departments that are found within a business. Now, the aspect or the department of finance is key or crucial to a business. Why? Because it satisfies certain things about the business. So for number one, remember I said the business, there is input and there is output. The input of a business is capital. So capital is money that you're investing in the business. So where do you get the money to invest in the business? How much did it cost you to invest within that particular business? All of those answers are answered by people who are doing business finance. Then once the business is in operation, you want to know how efficient and how effective are the operations, right? So efficient is basically input over output, right? So you're saying how efficient and how effective is the particular business. So to answer that question, you still need the what? Is someone who's doing business finance, who's going to do working capital management, who's going to do an analysis of the financial statements. And then lastly, you're going to have a profit at the end of the day. Is the profit that we made enough? Is the profit growing? Is the profit worth investing again into that particular business? All of those answers are answered by someone who has studied business finance. So business finance has got 7 units, right, that you would need to attend to now. Unit number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are very straightforward. These can be done within 2 hours, right? So which means we are going to be doing what? 6 weeks, right? That is unit number 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Unit number 2, unfortunately, it's much more longer than all the other units. Unit number 2, we are likely going to spend at least 3 weeks doing unit number 2. Why? Because unit number 2 is called financial statements. In financial statements, you need to know how to do an income statement. You need to know how to do a statement of financial position. You need to know how to do a cash flow statement. So there are 3 aspects that are important to financial statements. So that will be a week each on each of those aspects. So that's 6 weeks plus 3, that gives you 9 weeks. So it means that for us to complete this module, for business finance, we are going to need at least 9 weeks where we are going to go through the study material. Then in addition to those 9 weeks, we are going to have 1 week where we do the assignment, which is week number 10. And then we are also going to have at least 3 weeks where we do past exam papers, right? So in total, we're going to spend approximately 12 to 13 weeks doing business finance. This is probably the longest module of all of the modules that you're going to do, because there's quite a lot of information that you need to go through. Now, the way we are going to be learning is through past exam papers, right? It's through past exam papers where I'll present to you a past exam paper and the questions that are in the past exam paper and show you how you could answer those questions based on the study material for that specific unit. So that will be the modus operandi of how we are going to operate. Unit number 1 is just theory, so that one is no need to worry. We're going to quickly cover it today because it's just theory. But from unit number 2 up to unit number 7, I will need you guys either come with your calculator to the class, or if you do not have a calculator, please have a computer with Excel or something like that, so that you can also follow through what we are doing. So before each and every lecture, I will send you the past exam paper that we are going to work with, right? So I'll send, look, guys, 2022, question number 3 is the one that we're going to be working on today, because it talks about, let's say, financial statements. And then we meet in the class, I give you the theory, we practice together, then I'll give you a little homework, which you can watch, so that you can see how to work it out on your on your end, right? So that's business finance. So we want to talk about unit number 1 now. Unit number 1, which is theory. Okay, just give me a second here. Take a sip of water. Okay. So the first aspect, now during the class, you will notice that I will say 2 things consistently. I will tell you that this is important, this is not important. This is important, this is not important. The reason why I will say this is so that you guys can know what to focus yourself on. I'm talking from experience in terms of the past exam papers, because I've assisted students for the last 6 years. So I know which questions will come in exams and which questions are likely not to come in exams. So if I say something is important, please take note of it. In your spare time, reread that specific section, right? So the first thing is the aspect of financial management, right? The aspect of financial management. What is financial management? What does financial management cover, right? So financial management is just a broad subject, right? In itself, it has got quite a lot of information. The people that talk about financial management also talk about accounting, also talk about management accounting, also talk about financial control, also talk about financial planning, also talk about investment decision making. So they talk about a lot of different things. So it covers quite a lot of information. But the 3 key things that you need to understand that are covered under financial management is financial planning, financial control, and financial decision making. Now, this can come through as a quiz, right? And say which are the 3 key elements of of financial management. So you should know it's financial planning, financial control, and financial decision making. Now, what is financial planning? So financial planning, you're saying that at the beginning of the year, as a business, right? At the beginning of the year as a business, you need to plan ahead. How much money will we need in our specific business, right? How are we going to sponsor the different projects that we have in our specific business? How are we going to pay the employees in our specific business? What type of equipment do we need for our specific business? So that is financial planning, where you're trying to determine what are the right needs that need to be met for your particular business. Now, once you have planned, which means you're going to have values, you're going to have a budget, you're going to do all of these things, you now need financial control. Financial control, now you're asking yourself that now that we've taken this cash into the business, now that we have bought this equipment and all of these assets, are we efficiently using them as an organization? Are we within the budget that we set for ourselves as a business, or we are now operating outside our budget, or someone is stealing money from the organization, someone is not operating properly within the organization. So that's financial control. That's part of business finance, or part of financial management. Then the last one is financial decision making. Financial decision making there are three aspects that we make decisions in finance, right? We do decisions about investment, we do decisions about financing, and we do decisions about dividends. So we are saying, how do I make a particular decision? So when I say investment decision making, I am saying, for example, let's assume that you are a car manufacturer, right? Business. That's your business. Right? So you can ask yourself, should I locate my factory in KwaZulu-Natal, or rather, should I locate my factory in Nigeria? Right? That's a question that you can have as a manufacturing company. Should we go and locate the factory in Nigeria, or should we locate it in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, right? So that's an investment decision that you're trying to make. You can answer that using business finance. You can do certain calculations that will tell you which one will be better for you, right? So that's investment decision, right? Financing decision. When I say financing decision, I'm asking, how are we actually going to pay for the factory? Yes, we have decided we want the factory to be in Nigeria, but the factory needs buildings. The factory needs equipment. The factory needs employees. It needs cash. It needs some nairas. So how are we going to get the nairas? Are we going to take a bank loan, right, from FNB, or are we going to go to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and list the company and get some new investors into the company? Or are we going to approach maybe Vusi and these venture capital companies and see if they can fund us for our operations? So that's financing decisions. Right? Then dividend decisions. We're saying that after the company is operated in Nigeria for quite a time, we're now asking ourselves this question. So does this company have profit? Right? And if it has profit, how much of that profit should we pay to the owners of the business as dividends? Right? So that's financing decision making. So again, like I said, that's another popular question, right? To say, what are the three key financial decisions that are made by the finance manager, right? What are the three key financial decisions that are made by the finance manager? He makes investment decision making, financing decision making, and dividend decision making. So those are the three key decisions that a finance manager makes at a company. So just to reiterate, three key issues or elements of financial management: planning, control, and decision making. Three key issues of decision making: investment, financing, and dividend, right? So that is something that is key. Then the next part is about the relationship between finance and other fields or other departments within the business. Like I said, finance covers quite a lot of things. There is accounting, there is economics, there is management accounting, there's taxation, there's auditing, and whatnot. So I would encourage you to go through this section yourself. It's not typical to get questions on the section, but it's possible that they might ask you what is the relationship between financial management and economics. Usually they can ask you something like that. It's not typical, but it's possible to get a question in this one. I'll just go through in brief, but for this one, I would advise you to actually read through the information because it's dense. I would advise you to read through it. All right. So the first thing is, when you're talking about financial management, right? Within financial management, you are going to meet financial accountants. Financial accountants are basically your bookkeepers, the people that actually gather the accounting data, record it, analyze it, and report it for you as a particular business. So financial accountants become the input to the finance manager. They become the input to the finance manager's process, right? So that's number one. Economics. Economics now talks a little bit more about the production part. It talks more about how the business, is it efficient or is it not efficient? So you're talking about costs, you're talking about production, you're talking about distribution, you're talking about demand and supply. You're asking yourself as a manager, are we doing enough as a business to survive? Right? Or should we close down our business? And then what is the relationship between the business and the macroeconomic factors such as inflation, interest rates, and exchange rate? How are we being affected whenever the South African Reserve Bank increases the interest rate, whenever the inflation rate of South Africa increases, and when the rand is fluctuating up and down, how does that affect us as a what? As a business, right? So that's how economics relates to what? To financial management, right? And then the next one. Okay, sorry guys, I just want to check something here. There's a noise that I'm not understanding where it's coming from. Give me a second. It's fine. All right. So then our management accounting are the ones that make the internal decisions, the costing decisions of the organization, the budgeting decisions of the organization, right? Whether we have to increase output or we have to reduce output in order to manage our costs as a business. What are the costs that are related to the production that is happening to the business, etc. So those are your management accountants. They also feed information for what? For financial management. Then taxation, I think is straightforward. Here you are now looking at how the government taxes affect your particular business in terms of your finances. That's also part of financial management. Then auditing is you're now looking at once the business is operated, did we adhere to the financial controls that we put within that particular business. Now, the reason why we need to have financial management, or the reason why we need to have business finance, is number one, each business has got goals, and those goals need to be achieved. And business finance or financial management assist us in understanding whether we are achieving those goals or we are failing to achieve those goals. So some of these goals include profit maximization. Because you're operating a business, you need profit, right? That's the goal. That's the reason why you've gotten into business, to make a profit, right? Then the second one is maximizing the rate of return. When we say rate of return, we are saying that I have invested 100,000 rand in this business. Or how much am I getting for the 100,000 that I am invested? If I'm getting 50% back, is that good enough? If I'm getting 10% back, is that good enough? Is there no better opportunity for me elsewhere? So that's maximizing rate of return. Then lastly, you've got maximizing shareholder wealth. We're saying that the money that is invested into the business belongs to the shareholder or belongs to the owner. It is his wealth that is invested in the business. So what are we doing as businesses in order for us to maximize or to increase the wealth of the shareholder over what? Over a particular period of time, right? So that's some of the goals that you find about financial management. Now, 1.5, which is roles or functions of a financial manager. This one is actually an exam question. It's a key exam question that you might get, where you will be asked, can you please list or describe or explain the various roles of a financial manager, right? So we've already talked about this. A financial manager makes investment decisions, i.e., where and when to invest the money, right? Should we invest it in Nigeria? Should we invest it in Kenya? Should we invest it in Ethiopia? And when? Should we invest it next year, this year, in December, in January? So that investment decision making, right? A finance manager also does what? Financing decisions. Financing decisions, where are we going to get the money to create the factory that we want to create, right? Should we get the money from the bank? Should we take a loan? Should we take a debenture? Should we go and do a corporate paper on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange? Or should we list the company? Or should we approach venture capital firms, right? Then a finance manager ensures that a company is profitable, ensures that all of the sales, the revenues that the company, the income that is coming in, it should always exceed the expenses. Because if it does not, then the company is making a loss, and then the company should not continue operating. So that's one of the key roles of a finance manager. He also ensures that there is cash flow. Now, there's a difference between profit and cash flow. There is a difference between profit and cash flow. Let me show you an example. So if I start a business and my business is to sell cell phones, if I buy the cell phone for 13,000 rand and sell it for 13,000 rand, guess what? I have cash flow because I've bought 13,000 rand and I've sold it, which means someone is going to give me 13,000 rand. So I have got cash with me. But did I make a profit? No, because I sold it at the same price at which I bought it. So a business also needs to always have cash flows. In addition to profitability, you need your business to also have cash flows, right? And then we talk about solvency. Solvency, we're basically saying that your assets should exceed your liabilities as a business. If you're going to borrow money from the bank to operate the business, the bank should not owe you more than what you have. You can say the bank owes us, we owe the bank 1 million rand, and then we add all of your assets together in the 800,000 rand. So what happened to the other 200,000? That's solvency, right? So we are saying that your assets should always exceed how much you owe the banks at the end of the day. The financial manager analyzes the financial position of the organization, which is basically a summary of what we talked about. He analyzes profit, he analyzes liquidity, he analyzes cash flows and whatnot. He also is the one who sets up that I think we should have 50% of our money should be coming from the bank, then another 50% should be coming from the owners of the business. That's the role of the finance manager, setting up the financial structure of the what of that particular business, i.e. the different ratios that you need to what that you need to understand, right? So those are the key roles of the finance manager. Now, I think this should be the last thing that I want to talk about today. All right, I think we're almost out of time. Okay. Now, the key principles of financial management. This one is very rare to get it as an exam question, but we are going to cover it with. It's most likely might be in your assignment, but it's very rare to get it as an exam question. So when I talk about the fundamental principles of financial management, is we're saying what are the key issues that undermine or underline the decisions that you're going to make as a manager, right? What are the key things that you always need to know whenever you're making a decision as a manager? So the first thing is what we call the cost-benefit principle. Cost-benefit principle is the profit-loss principle, right? So we are saying that whenever you buy an asset within an organization, you have to ask yourself, is this going to be more beneficial than it is going to be a cost? So for example, if you're Mr. Price and you're selling clothes, right, you cannot buy clothes, right, from a clothes manufacturer for 150 rand, right, and then sell them for 100 rand. That doesn't make sense. You cannot make that decision as a finance manager. So you can only buy clothes where they are cheaper and sell them where you get a higher price. So that's the cost-benefit principle. So there should always be a benefit attached to the cost that you are incurring as a particular business. That's very key. Whatever decision that you are making as a finance manager, you have to ask yourself, what are the costs and what are the benefits associated with the decision that you're making. So that's the first principle. The second principle is called the risk and the return principle. It's almost similar to cost benefit, but it is not. Right? Risk return. We are saying that for every decision that you're making, there is a risk attached. Let's go back to the issue of the clothes. Right? So we're saying that yes, you have seen, oh, I can buy these clothes for 150 rand from this particular factory, and I can sell the chinos, maybe some chinos, I can sell them for 500 rand. So yes, according to the cost benefit principle, that's okay. But according to the risk return principle, we are saying that wherever you are making a decision, there is a risk. And what is the risk when you're looking at clothes? The risk is the consumers will not like the style and they will not buy your clothes. So as a finance manager, you need to make sure that whatever clothes that you're buying, the risk is not too much, that people will like them, that people will buy them. Because although the cost and the benefit are okay, but if the risk is too high, then it's not worth getting into that particular business. Right? That is why you see we don't like doing those fly-by-night people that post those adverts on WhatsApp where they are saying that quick returns, put 1,000 here today, tomorrow you're going to get 5,000 rand. The reason why you don't do that is because of the risk return principle. Yes, there is the return that is there, but is it commensurate to the risk? No, it's not, because you know these guys are scammers. I put my money there, I will not get the money back. So you know that the risk is too high although they said that I'll get 1,000 return tomorrow, but you know that the risk is too high. So you do not invest in the scammers business. So that's the risk return principle. You basically assess every decision according to what is the return and what is the risk. If the risk is low and the return is high, better for you. If the risk is too high but the return is low, then do not get into that particular business at the end of the day, right? Then the third one is the time value principle. Now, this is very, very key. There's actually a unit where we talk about time value. So time value principle, I want you to think about it this way. If I was going to give you 1 million rand, right? And I say, oh, I can give you the 1 million rand today, or I can give you the 1 million rand after 5 years. Would you say I want it today, or would you take it after 5 years? In all likelihood, you are going to say, I want the 1 million rand today. Why do you want it today? Because you know that if you take 1 million rand today, if you put it in FNB fixed deposit account at 5%, in 5 years' time, you probably have 1.5 million. So which means over time, you can get more money if you invest it into a bank account. But that also means that if you do not invest the money, it actually loses value. Remember inflation, the price of bread in 2020 was 10 rand, but now it's going for 13, 14, 15 rand. That's the price of bread. If you shops, it's actually 18 rand, right? So you can see that over time, the value of 10 rand has decreased. If you had 10 rand 10 years ago, it was worth more than the 10 rand that you're holding today. So that's the time value of money. So as a finance person, as a business person, as a business finance person, you also need to understand that. So whatever decisions that you're making, you're also asking yourself, what will be the value of the money that I have in 5 or in 10 years' time? Is it not losing value at the end of the day? So that's the key principles of finance, right? So I think I've talked about finance decisions. These ones I've talked about. So the last aspect is now the agency theory. Now, when we talk about the agency theory, what we're basically saying that you don't usually own the business, right? You are an employee at the business, right? You are a manager in the business, but it is not your business. It is someone else's business. But you are making the decisions for that particular business. So the success or failure of that particular business is hinged on the decisions that you are making. So you are an agent to the owner of the business. Now there are problems of you being an agent to the owner. Because remember, you are the one who's making the decision. It is not the owner who's making the decision. You are the one deciding how much salaries should we pay these people, not the owner. You are the one who's deciding that. So that creates a problem within every specific business where the business managers might end up having quite a lot of power more than the owners of the business. So how do we manage the agents theory? How do we manage the agents relationship between businesses, their owners, and the managers that exist within the business? I encourage you to read it in your own time. I don't want to focus much on it because I know it will not be in an exam. Most likely, you might get an assignment question, but like I said, the assignments, don't worry, we'll deal with them when they come. So in short, ladies and gentlemen, this is unit number 1 for business finance. Now, this is actually the only unit where you don't do calculations. This is the only unit where you don't do any calculations. Every other unit from unit number 2 up to unit number 7, we will be performing calculations. So when we meet next week, we are going to be introducing financial statements. We're going to be introducing financial statements. I actually want us to do an income statement as an example within our next class. So please, like I said, either bring your calculator or you can bring in your Excel. If you've got a computer, you can bring in your Excel so that I can show you the tricks of how to particularly do that. So we'll actually come also with even an assignment question, right? What do you call it? And a past exam paper that we can also use for practice. So that's business finance unit number 1. I will send you the recording of this class within the group after the lecture. Then I'll also send a link. Those of you that are interested in the classes that look, I really like these classes, I'm interested, I'll pay at the end of February. You can join that group so that we can take your names down so that we know how many students we are going to be having this particular this particular semester. But if you're not interested in the classes, again, like I said, it's a choice that you have to make, right? But for February, they'll be free. Feel free to join, even if you don't want to join in March. Feel free to join in February. Then my banking details and all of that stuff, I'll send it in the group so that you can have it. Now, any questions for me, whether they are related to what we're studying or they are related to the introduction that I did earlier? Are there any questions for me? You can unmute yourself and ask, or you can send in the chat.
Yeah, I just have a question. Thanks, first of all. Like the calculator can just be any calculator, right? It doesn't have to be like a specific
any
type.
calculators. Any calculators.
Okay, cool.
Okay, any calculators. Fine. All right. So remember, we are meeting tomorrow for microeconomics. We're meeting tomorrow for microeconomics. What's that?
Hello, how are you?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you explain the payment part? I didn't get it.
Okay, the payment part, like I said, February is going to be free. You have to make your payment by the end of February if you want to join the classes. So from now up until the end of February, you don't need to pay anything. But by the end of February, if you want to join the classes, you need to make your payment. The class is 750 Rand. That's the price of the class for one module, right? It's per semester for one module. So if you want business finance only, 750. If you want business finance and microeconomics, 1.5. If you want business finance and microeconomics and management and marketing, that would be 3,000, right? So it's 750 per module per semester. You can pay in installments. You don't have to pay everything at once. You can pay in installments. So if I say, look, I only have 250 right now, you can pay your 250 right now, and then the balance you can pay it in March, in April, and so forth. I hope that explains it.
Okay, no, I get it. 750 per module for the whole semester.
Yes, for the whole semester.
All right.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so thank you guys for coming in. Hope you have a pleasant evening. We'll see each other tomorrow at 7.
Thank you so much. Thank you.